All right, we're going to cover part 3 of what player and what franchise, what that would affect them and their legacy if they were to win or not win the championship. Part 1 of the series I did with LeBron James and the Lakers. Part 2 was with the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then part 3 here, we're doing Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. So with the Los Angeles Clippers, they've been a clown show ever since they've had Steve Ballmer and the crew ever since a couple years back. But now they're finally in contention to where they've had been with Chris Paul back in the day with Lob City, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. They were never to make it out of the second round. They've choked a couple of times and there was injuries. But now Kawhi Leonard coming to that franchise with Paul George is an amazing feature for that team. They're pretty much championship contenders. The Bucks, Clippers, and Lakers are the top 3 favorites to win a championship. That's why I'm doing this part 3 series of it. But with the Los Angeles Clippers, if they were to win the championship, that would be huge. They'd actually have that advantage over the Lakers. They've had a contention over the Lakers the past 6 seasons as it was. But this right here would actually put a new direction in their franchise to actually put a banner up there in the Staples Center. That's not all about the Lakers, but the Clippers. But with the Los Angeles Clippers, this would be their first championship of franchise history. This is something to where they can be able to put statues out of the Staples Center of Kawhi Leonard, or let alone, they can make a name for themselves. And for the city of Los Angeles, this would be huge. They haven't really had a championship since Kobe Bryant had his last stint in 2010 for the Lakers to win a chip. So it's been nearly a decade for Los Angeles, a franchise in a city that's used to winning, especially with the Lakers, not the Clippers. So the Clippers will have to make their city and their team franchise known to the whole NBA as it is, which is huge. But with Kawhi Leonard, kind of the main thing everyone's kind of focusing on. If he were to win the championship, I have him top 25 all time as it is. I would have to move him down to top 12, maybe even top 10 all time if he were to win this championship, especially going against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, which is most likely the case in a finals matchup. Giannis is going to have his second season to where he has a regular season MVP. The Bucks are historically one of the greatest teams of all time if they were to win it, but if they were to lose, the Bucks are still one of the great teams of all time. Definitely not top 10 or top 15, but they're up there statistically. And Giannis may win Defensive Player of the Year as well. So that'd be a great feature for Kawhi Leonard, who took down Steph Curry last season. A top 15 player of all time, let alone with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And this would be his third Finals MVP, third championship of all time. He pretty much would have won 3 championships in around 6 or 7 seasons, because his first stint was with the Spurs in 2014, 2019 with the Raptors, and then right here 2020 with the Clippers. Everyone pretty much would be talking about him a top 10 player of all time, most likely top 15 in that case. And pretty much he can put the nail in the coffin against LeBron James of he's the greatest player of the world, and this is his era. And that's what everyone will be talking about for the past couple of years when they're looking back at Kawhi Leonard. Racking this up, he would be in an elite class of Finals MVPs. He would have 3 championships with 3 different franchises. And it's crazy. His first season with Toronto, he got a championship and dipped. If he wins his first championship with the Clippers in the first season, that just shows his efficiency, let alone one of the greatest of all time. Now we got to flip the script. If he were to not to win the championship, I think the city of Los Angeles, if they were to not win the championship and the Lakers were to win it, that's a slap in their face, because the Clippers are favorites over the Lakers, kind of objectively and looking 3-dimensionally. I still have the Lakers personally to win the championship. That's another subject for another day. But yeah, the Clippers have no excuse to lose to the Lakers pretty much when it comes down to it. The Clippers are pretty much loaded and have, the right ingredients to win a chip, as they are, especially with the current Finals MVP on their team right now. And if the Lakers were to win the championship, that's just pretty much a slap in the face back to the Clippers. Another banner going up, and it is what it is. It's like the Nets and the New York Knicks kind of in that situation. If Kawhi Leonard were not to win the championship, he would not be considered the greatest player in the world as of today. He would still be top 25 all time, of course. But there's a lot to... He will lose more not winning this championship, because you do have the Golden State Warriors who are injured right now. Same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. We know they're going to be able to be resurrected in 2021. And there's going to be a huge amount of competition in the NBA pretty much who's going to win the chip. People are going to throw out the Clippers, Lakers, the Nets, the Warriors, the Celtics, the Bucks, maybe the Raptors, if they probably bring back like DeMar DeRozan or kind of retool in that situation. The NBA is going to be crazy that season. So pretty much the writing's on the wall to where either the Bucks, Lakers, and Clippers have to be all pressured and stressed to pretty much pull up a championship. But kind of let me know what you guys think down below. I think Kawhi Leonard has a lot to gain if he wins his championship, pretty much being in the all-time greats, going a little more deeper in the tiers. Huge for the Los Angeles Clippers if they were to win this, of course. I mean, the Clippers have the right ingredients. Let's see how it pulls off in the bubble over here in Orlando. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. Personally, I have the Lakers to win the championship. Thinking more of a storyline type of thing, but Kawhi Leonard has the right ingredients. Let's see what happens to here and how he can take over the league.